Everybody, it's Linda with Joyful Makes and Finds, and I am back today to show you this apple journal. It is the second in my little Cutie autumn series, and I think it turned out pretty cute. It has a very vintage vibe to it. The cicadas just started chirping. I have my windows open because it's actually a beautiful, cool day here in St. Louis today. So I apologize if they get too loud. But anyway, it has an apple theme, and I chose this cute vintage pattern image for the cover. And I attached it to some corrugated cardboard and distressed it a bit. And then I have this is all very vintage fabric, vintage rickrack, and vintage buttons that are decorating the cover. It has an eyelet closure, and some gingham ribbon. So let's take a look inside. Get centered here. In the front pocket, I put one of my little button shaker tags that I signed and dated on the back. There's a fabric pocket here that matches the fabric on the front, and a bulb pin with Made with Love charm on there. And this is a page from a Vintage Ideals magazine. Then on the back side here, I created a tuck with this great old vintage image, and I just tucked in a couple of vintage items. It's a vintage tally and a little book. I found this box of little book inserts at an estate sale and tucked that in there. Some coffee dyed paper. These are some digitals that I will credit in the description box. This is an envelope that I turned into a pocket here with a faux vintage apple stamp. It's Johnny Appleseed and a TV collector stamp. And then in this pocket is this apple that I printed on fabric. I was going to use this on the cover, and then I found that it just wasn't bright enough, but I thought it would still make a great tag, or you could use it in a variety of other ways. And then just a vintage playing card. And this is an actual double pocket. There's a pocket because this is a part of an envelope. So there is a pocket in the front and then a pocket in the back. Okay, and then a doily, a paper bag, and in the paper bag I have a vintage recipe card. It's a full-size card that folds in half, so you could use it for recipes or for journaling. And then I created a pocket here, a multi-way pocket, as I often do, and I made some little tags, and this is a cute little journal card from a vintage ad, and then a handmade tag with another vintage ad. And there's room for more in this pocket. There's more pockets than I have items. Oh, let's put you in here. Okay, we'll just leave her cute little face peeking out there. And then a ticket and some little tags. And then this is a page of very vintage stationery. It's got apples, it's got raccoons and an apple tree. And then this is a vintage ledger that I just found. I think it's a classroom. It's for a teacher. And I loved the red and green colors in there, and I thought it would be perfect in this apple journal. I just added some satin ribbon there. And then I created this from vintage stamps. They're actually faux vintage stamps, and they all have an apple theme, but they're copies of original stamps that are quite old. And then I put this little vintage advertisement in here as a little journaling card. And then I just put a little paper clip and some more of the vintage fabric on there. And it's holding on this journaling card that looks like an old flashcard. And then this is actually vintage notebook paper, and another page from the Ideals magazine. Some children's ledger, handwriting ledger. And then this is the back side of that digital that has the envelope pocket. And I put this adorable image in here from a vintage children coloring book. Looks like they're making an apple pie, and they are just as cute as they can be. And then I did another cluster also with a faux vintage stamp and collecting stamp. Some blank music paper. This is the center of the signature, and this is a digital. And I also beaded the signature ties with some really pretty and coordinating beads. If you can see those, I'll lay them here right next to it. See if you can see it that way. Okay. And then the back sides of some of those same sheets. Lots of blank space and room for journaling. And then here I have a fold out, flip out kind of thing. It's an envelope. There's lots of room here for journaling or for creating your own page spread. And then inside of this envelope is a piece of stationery or writing paper for journaling. Let's see, how did I have that? We'll put it in this way so you can see a little bit of the design. Okay. And then on this side, I used this cute little paper bag, and I put this image on it, put a little tag in there with a fabric topper. And then it's a tuck spot also, and I tucked another piece of writing paper in here for writing a note or a list or something like that. And then on the back side, the back of the envelope, or the flap of the envelope, created this little tuck spot, and I made a little cluster there. And then I tucked in this other really cute pattern image. Actually, I don't know if it's a pattern image. I guess it is. I was going to say it could even be a page from a catalog where you could order the dress already made. I'm not sure which it is. I think it is actually a catalog page. Okay. And then the back side of the ledger, and I just folded that in for a lot of journaling, or you can use it as a tuck spot or a pocket. You could glue the top and bottom down if you needed to. Just kind of left that option. This is the back side of that really cute vintage, I think it's a Hallmark stationery piece. And then this is the back side of the paper bag, and I put this cute little apple embellishment there. And then inside I have Simply Cinnamon Apple Tea, Bigelow brand. And you can have that warm or cold. It's delicious either way. Okay. And then this last page here, I've got this really cute vintage advertisement, and I just created an uptuck there, and I put in this page from an old, look how old, it's probably from the 50s, a vintage reader, like primary reader from school. And it's got this wonderful image, and I just attached it in its entirety there because I thought that was sweet. I didn't have the heart to cut it. I wasn't sure if it would be sturdy enough to actually put into the signature without really doing a lot of reinforcement on the spine, so I just tucked it in as it is. And then this is the very last page, which is the back side of that Ideals magazine. And then in this last fabric pocket here is a cute little digital tag. And then inside of this pocket, of course, this is, you know, the paper bag. So there's a big, large opening. And I put all of the offcuts and all the little extras that I usually send. There's buttons in here and embellishments and a little bit of the vintage fabric and some images and such that I didn't use that I thought you might enjoy. So that's in there. And this is the back of the cover. And this is it. It's currently listed in my Etsy shop, Joyful Makes and Finds. And I will be doing another little cutie journal for next week. And the theme of that one will be woodland animals. I've got these adorable squirrels and chipmunks and owls and raccoons and all kinds of cute little fall friends. So that'll be the next one coming down the pike. So thank you for taking a few minutes to watch this. I'm also listing lots of other things in my Etsy shop. I have lots of dangles and journal jewelry for fall, for Halloween, candy corn themed, lots of that Christmas, as well as just a lot of other vintage items that are new to my shop for fall. So hop on over and take a peek. Thank you for taking a minute to watch. Leave me a like, a thumbs up, a comment, and please subscribe if you enjoy watching the flip throughs. That helps me a lot. So have a wonderful rest of the day, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.